Hey guys, so today you and I are going to talk about information systems and how to fix the complexity of it all. So let's get into it. So the question in question was, Frederick, developing applications is extremely complicated. How do we fix it? Well, that's not a big question or anything, right? But the short answer is you need to have a tightly knit group of people, a small autonomous team basically, and a scheduling system that actually works. Now, what do I mean by that? I'm glad you asked. So the simple answer is that what I mean is that you will find that one of the key things as to delivering software of any type of quality is to embed a sensation of ownership into the people that are actually producing the code. Not just the code, of course, but all the people that are involved in the project. Now, large corporations, especially the older ones, they struggle with this a lot because you may not have thought about this. The reason why so many of them are actually paying outlandish salaries is because they don't have this. They don't have it at all. They don't have people who are, well, of course some of them are, but it's extremely hard for an organization that doesn't actually leverage anything like self-empowerment or autonomy or like allow any type of influence and so forth. Like they have all these organizational structures in place that are kind of outdated and feel unfulfilling to quite a lot of people. Which means that if you want people to be into that sort of thing, well, you can't really pay them less than anywhere else, because then they're just going to go to a startup where they actually get that sensation of fulfillment and commitment to the company. So what do? Well, you have money, so you throw money at the problem. Quite a lot of the companies do this, and they're, I would say, starting to realize that that's not actually a solution to this problem. But if we then look at the other side of this, the companies that usually do the best, that actually have committed workers who really care about what they're doing, are the startups, pretty much. Well, you can look at the super IT companies such as Google and so forth, but the startup mindset, let's call it that instead. The commitment to the company is high because they allow the teams to have a responsibility area where they are fully committed to that responsibility. They don't have a bunch of managers that micromanage every single thing, and they don't create all these different blockers they don't try to hinder the sensation of taking initiative and like all of these different things that you see in a traditional organization, where you need to like check with your boss if you can talk to that department over there, and then you need to schedule a meeting to discuss all of these things, right? So that is one of the cornerstones. Like, you need a small group of people that are committed to solving a specific problem. Now, the reason why I argue this is because when you make something too big for a human being, they lose interest. It's sort of, think of it as being part of your own, being as a part of a family versus being part of a city. The two are very different. You have a emotional investment to all the people in your family, more or less, but you may not care so much what's going on in your city or your entire country. There are tons of people dying and suffering and so forth every single day, but you are not equipped as a human being to care as much about all of those people as you are equipped to care about the people close to you. So creating this small little group of people that really are dedicated to each other first and foremost, and then of course to the project as well, is a very, very good thing, because they will, I can promise you that these people will deliver. They will deliver like hell, and they will go the extra mile to make sure that whatever they're working on actually pans out well. That's number one. The second thing about this is that you need this group, they need to be able to work independently in some fashion. They need to be able to make their own decisions. They need to be able to work in an agile fashion, to not have all of these interconnections and all of these dependencies. Usually what I argue is that they need a team lead or some type of manager that is, well, basically an extension of the team, and the team is an extension of that manager. They need to be influenced or be part, to have a manager basically that leads by example and then can command respect and in some cases admiration from the team. The team really needs to feel dedicated to this person, and this person of course needs to feel the same way towards the team. Now, when you start doing this, you will start to realize something, and that is that there is a finite amount of responsibilities that you can give such a team if you want to deliver as a company. Because what we've been talking about so far is how to solve the process of delivering. That process that I just described, like just having that setup, is perfect for just the daily job. But as a company, you usually need more than maybe a group of 6 people to deliver on all the projects that you have. So if you slice out an application into, I'm not saying microservices, but like a service-oriented architecture type of deal, and you give all of that responsibility to each of the teams, because you're going to have multiple teams that actually are able to deal with all of this if you want to deliver on your all of the company goals that you have. Because as you can imagine, Volvo or I don't know, Amazon or whichever company, like they can't just have 6 people delivering on all the stuff that they want to do, right? So now it becomes a discussion of scheduling, and this is the thing that I believe is one of the hardest things when it comes to being like an upper management type of person, where you need to pretty much plan out how to, well, it's actually funny because in a way this is like Docker containers. To me at least, you have all these different teams or these different containers, and they can do a piece of work. And now you need to act like kind of like Kubernetes. You need to figure out, how am I supposed to schedule all of these different teams so that if I want a given project to be delivered, I need to know like these 2 teams, they have responsibilities that overlap here, and they both are needed in order to deliver on that thing. And these teams here, they need to work together in order to get that thing done, and so forth and so forth. So it becomes a scheduling issue, and that is definitely a tricky thing. The thing that I have seen that works the best, that really mitigates this problem with having complex deliveries and so forth, is that you allow the teams to make their own decisions. You simply set requirements on them, like we need you to deliver this and that and so forth. And as long as the team is very like that they have a as long as they have a responsibility area where they don't have all that many dependencies, they might be able to deliver on something completely independently. Everything's fine. Then they manage themselves. As long as they don't have an interconnection type of thing, everything's great. So you simply, as the stakeholder here, you place an order of some sort to the team and say, we need you to hit these numbers, or we need you to do this and that because we're going to do some stuff that's upcoming. And as long as they can do that alone, everything's fine. But the second they actually need to collaborate with another team, you as the stakeholder you need to have a discussion with the team leads, and you need to make it damn sure or damn obvious that this project that you need them to collaborate on, this project takes precedency over other work at this point. Because if you just let them just coordinate the things themselves, you think about it, they are 2 different teams with 2 different priorities and different people, and they have their own backlogs and their own schedules. And if you want to be sure that there's a very nice collaboration going on here, and that the project actually is going to be delivered on time, and that there's not going to be a mismatch in when one team does one thing and then the other team does the other thing, ideally you want the scheduling of the work that both teams needs to perform to be as close in time as humanly possible. Because if one team delivers, really early and one delivers extremely late, and there's some mismatch or some problem, then the other team needs to go back and fix things on their end and so forth, and it just becomes a big scheduling mess. So this is the one time you as the stakeholder needs to communicate really clearly that we expect you to reprioritize your backlogs and work together on this thing, because this thing is actually more important than the other stuff that you are doing. Assuming, of course, that it actually is, because they might be doing things that are like that's already really important. But if you do this, if you have these larger projects, then it's vital for you to actually make that call and say that we need to prioritize this and you should all work together, rather than just have them figure it all out in between, because they are all at the same level of influence and all the same level of authority. So there's no clear leadership going on there. That's the one time I think that you should really introduce a bit of leadership. So what I want you to take away from this is that, from my perspective, the way to solve the problem of delivering software just at a team level and at a company level, manage all of that complexity, is first and foremost, you need small autonomous teams, people who are dedicated to, like, who really care about the product, who really care about each other. And you get that by one part by making sure that they can make all their own decisions. Like because think about it, you don't really need all that much leadership if you have experienced, really good people in that team. They will make the right decision. Just trust them to make those decisions. They also need a strong, good leader, or like team leader, or some person like project owner or something like that they truly respect. That person needs to be an extension of the team, and the team should be an extension of that person, and then you create mutual trust. So as long as that person is there and they have the ability to work independently, and like their responsibility area is either very small or very inclusive, I like to say that you should split responsibilities on features, so that a team can manage a set of features rather than one specific part of the system. Because if you only have one part, then they always have a dependency to some other team somewhere else, and you want ideally that, as much as possible, that they can deliver on everything they want to work on without having to necessarily go to another team to get that help. But in the scenario when we're talking about at the company level, when we deal with larger projects where multiple teams need to be involved in, because they have different responsibility areas of this big project, right? Then you, as the stakeholder or upper management, you need to introduce a bit of leadership here. Well, you don't have to tell them how to do things, you just have to tell them that this takes precedency over what you are doing. Because if you don't, odds are that it's going to be very tricky for everybody to schedule, like to get their priorities straight. That's just from my experience. Have a great day.